China is becoming the new America. Indeed, these type of ideals have been cleared up by a report done by the Washington Post, dated July 9th, 2013. Indeed, this article states that when looking at the situation, China has only fell economically within the last few months. And this isn't the typical speed hump that happens to the economy as time goes on. Indeed, this is leading towards significant economic systems being changed. And the reason for this is because China has hit its economic peak after 3 long decades. Now, when looking at the situation, we can clearly see that the economy has hit a significant downfall, and many political elites, such as Premier Li Qiang, have been looking towards different types of economic reforms to try to readjust China back onto tracks to becoming a political dominant factor. Indeed, this has led way to Li-Qianism, which many economists have been very critical about. Now, when looking at this situation, we have to understand that the dominant country like China is looking for ways to stay a dominant country. And with a country like China hanging in the balance, we are forced to ask ourselves today's question, which is China's economy beyond repair? And the answer to this question, unfortunately for Premier Li Qiang, is yes, for the following 3 reasons. First, because of surplus of labor. Secondly, because of the uncontent workers. And lastly, because of countries and businesses hopping off of the Chinese bandwagon. So first, what we're going to notice is that when looking at the situation, when looking at China, we see that labor is abundant. Indeed, according to a report done by the Economic Times of July 16th, 2013, the country of China has a high demand of workers, or had a high demand of workers, and thus built many factories. However, when you don't incentivize the workers to work, that makes them leave in packages, significantly large packages, and therefore you don't have the demand for workers. And however, the country itself can't get rid of its factories, and the country itself isn't designed in a way that is that is dynamic. It's built in a static way that can't change significantly over time. And therefore, if they don't incentivize the workers to work by not giving them economic benefits and other such sorts, they're going to start leaving in large packages, and the factories are going to be there useless, and there's going to be less productivity. Indeed, Paul Krugman goes on to report on Paul Krugman stated on June 6, 2013, that the Chinese economy and political elites are bottling it up in state enterprises and in the factories themselves, because the Chinese people know that there's economic prosperity going and are not feeling the economic prosperity within their own families. They're incentivized to pick up means of capitalism, and indeed these small key aspects of capitalism are starting to build up. And therefore, with the economy building up capitalism in a country that is significantly facing capitalistic ways, we can clearly see that this is going to be detrimental for the country itself. And therefore, we can clearly see that the Chinese economy is beyond repair, because they're not incentivizing the workers themselves, and that is overall leading to economic downturn. Now, even if the economy were in fact giving them, secondly, what we have to understand is that the situation is getting even worse, because the workers are unhappy even if money is given to them. Now, the reason for this is cleared up by an International Monetary Fund report dated July 19th, 2012, that goes on to report that labor unions are starting to form, and even when they're given the money, they're still not working up to par, and are asking for better conditions that the government can't even afford. And furthermore, what we have to understand is that when the workers are unhappy, they're not going to work, and even when they're given what they want, they're still not working. And therefore, the government itself has seen itself at a stalemate, a stalemate, and therefore the government itself needs to incentivize the workers by not only giving them better conditions, but by replacing the workers and and making it so that the workers are more competitive. Indeed, if they're not given incentive to become more competitive, the work is just not going to get done, and therefore, in the long term, this is only costing more than it's going to save. Therefore, the Chinese economy needs to restructure its political face before it can even think about repairing its economy. And lastly, what we're going to focus on is a situation going on with countries and large businesses jumping off the Chinese bandwagon. Indeed, when looking to an article published by the Atlantic Monthly dated May 16th, 2013, many large economies are hesitant in investing in China simply because when looking at China, their economy has been predicted to see a sudden downfall that many economists did not even predict. And indeed, when many countries and large businesses are jumping off the Chinese bandwagon, this is going to lead towards an attack on Wall Street, or a hesitance in Wall Street, and large businesses not being able to rely heavily on China. Indeed, this has led to economic and political instability, and with China becoming unstable, many countries have seen themselves looking towards new world superpowers, which according to The Economist Special Edition World in 2013 would most likely become Mexico, as they will follow in the footsteps of China, who in fact is following in the footsteps of America. So therefore, we have to ask ourselves today's question: is China's economy beyond repair? And the answer to that question was a clear yes, for the three reasons that we've discussed. First, because of the because of the surplus of workers that has overall led to the economic downfall. Secondly, because of the uncontent workers, and lastly, because of the countries and large businesses jumping off the Chinese bandwagon. Thank you.